Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. This afternoon, shortly after 1 p.m., the Akron Fire Department and Akron Police Department responded to call for a structure fire at Koki Laboratories, KOKI Laboratories, located at 1081 Rosemary Boulevard. Akron Fire has been responding throughout the day, throughout the afternoon to the fire. I will introduce District Chief Sergi Lash to provide a full update.
Thank you all for being here. As Mayor said, we received a call shortly after 1 o'clock, about 1:12. Our first arriving unit on the scene arrived about 1:14. We had reports of heavy smoke and flames showing through the back of the building. Once we arrived, we saw it was a commercial building. Employees had already evacuated. We heard, after we were on scene, shortly before 3 o'clock, a small explosion. That's when we decided to upgrade to a third alarm fire and evacuate the neighborhood. We are currently have a lot of resources deployed to the fire, and we are, because of structural integrity being compromised, we have continued to evacuate, and we are pouring resources into the scene as needed. I will let Lieutenant Murphy let you know what Akron Police is doing.
Yeah, the Akron Police Department's primary response has been partnering and assisting the Akron Fire Department in all their efforts. We did assist with traffic control and consistently blocking off the areas now, have a perimeter set up around South Arlington Street, East Waterloo Road, Kelly Avenue, and Triplet Avenue. We also assisted the Akron Fire Department with the evacuation efforts and have began the reunification efforts with the City of Akron, and Mayor Malik will discuss a little bit more about that.
Thank you both. We have set up 3 reunification centers, places where folks can go from the evacuation zone. That's Firestone Park Community Center, which is now full. Joy Park Community Center, which is at 825 Fuller Street, and then Mason Park Community Center, which is at 700 East Exchange Street. We have Red Cross on hand at Firestone Park, and we'll be on hand at all the centers. They have water and food, and will continue to respond as necessary. At this point, we will take your questions.
Mayor, what have you been able to determine as far as what types of chemicals could be in there? We initially heard propane, but there's also the possibility of other chemicals, and there's some reports of the smell in the air. So what's the danger level of the chemicals that are possibly going into the air as we speak?
Thank you, Bob. Reported from the company, we have methanol, propane, and xylene. Right now, our primary concern is the fire and explosion, which is why we've done the evacuation. Residents don't have to worry so much about the smoke right now unless they have underlying health conditions.
What do residents have to worry about right now?
Being safe, making sure they get to those reunification points like Mayor and Lieutenant Murphy mentioned, and staying away from where we've evacuated with a perimeter of about a half mile.
Why is that so important?
Because of the explosion and the fire. We want to make sure, like I said, there's structural integrity concerns at the building. We want to make sure no one close by is affected by that with danger or health and safety concerns.
How many explosions have there been, and do you expect the entire building to explode? The chief had mentioned there was a fear of more explosions.
Well, there has been more noise coming from the building. Like I said, we evacuated the area. We can determine later the extent of any damage. Right now, we're just supporting the scene and making sure the residents are in a safe location.
So
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to call on folks individually after she's done with each answer. I just wanna make sure that we're able to do this effectively. Go ahead, please.
Like I said, our primary concern is to make sure residents are at a safe location, a safe distance away from the emergent fire.
We'll go from my left to right.
Are there any potentials that residents will need to stay at a community center overnight?
We're not able to determine that at this point. We will respond as necessary, so if there is a need for that, we will address that need.
Schools, daycares in the area? Could you guys help get kids out?
Sure, so I do not believe there are Akron Public Schools within the evacuation radius. There were students at David Hill, East Middle School and East High School, who, some of whom were kept at David Hill, and who APS is in the process of reunifying them with their families.
Is that primarily a commercial district? How far are the residences from this location? Or not, have there been any injuries or transports?
There are several residential neighborhoods near this. There is a high rise at 1010 Rosemary. There's the Rosemary Erickson apartments that are adjacent to the site as well. And there are, I believe, another series of apartments as well. Then there are a number of businesses along Arlington and some along Rosemary. So it is kind of a mixed situation when it comes to industrial and residential. We want to make sure everyone leaves from that evacuation zone. If folks have an issue, have mobility issues and need help, they can call 911 and assist. If they have issues with breathing or some of those underlying health concerns, they also can call if they have concerns about that.
If you were to estimate, how many people were evacuated from the building, and are there any injuries from people who were evacuated from the building, respiratory or not?
I don't have anything for you on the injuries, but in terms of, we don't have a total estimate of how many people are at the facilities. I believe there were at least 30 people at Firestone Park Community Center, but we don't have that total number right now. Metro Bus is also assisting in busing folks to the community centers. So we appreciate that support as well. Do you have anything you want to add on the transport?
We don't necessarily have
Come
a
on.
number, we don't necessarily have a number for folks being injured. We have 3 med units standing by in case someone does step forward, but we don't necessarily have any transports at this time.
Does this lab have a history of explosions or chemical reactions in the past?
We don't have anything on that right now. Derek?
Has there been a cause of pain?
That we don't have anything on that right now. The underlying cause will be subject of future investigation. Bob?
Two questions. Is there any initial estimate on how long the evacuations could last? I know you said you weren't sure about overnight. And then for Sergi, methanol, propane, xylene, can you tell us anything more about those? The danger level, combustibility, that kind of stuff.
We do have our hazmat team on scene, and they will do the research on any kind of hazards, health hazards as well. But primarily, again, right now, we're focused on the flammability and explosive properties and making sure the rest of the neighborhood outside that perimeter is safe.
Do we have any confirmation? You mentioned Koki, but then online I'm also seeing SMB products. Do we have any confirmation on which is the actual official company name?
No, at this point, we believe it's Koki Labs, but we will determine that going forward.
So county emergency management been notified, or are they involved?
Yes, County Emergency Management has been in close touch with our emergency management, and I believe there's a shared channel as
There
well.
is.
Yep.
For first responders, in your time on the job, have you all ever experienced anything to this magnitude in terms of explosions, in terms of fire, in terms of smoke that we see coming out of this building?
As far as our history and what we're used to, we try to keep Akron safe at all costs. We make sure our folks are trained, and if they're prepared and do the proper training, we're prepared for any incident. So we hope not to see this, but we are prepared in the event that we see it.
Have you ever seen it before?
We have,
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Derek?
Have Akron Fire or Akron Police called out to surrounding municipalities for mutual aid?
At this time, we haven't utilized mutual aid. We do have a unified command structure in place between the Akron Police Department and Akron Fire Department. So we've, as District Chief Lash mentioned before, we've trained for incidents like this. We've trained jointly with the fire department, so we feel as though we're prepared to handle it.
I know you sort of went over this at the beginning, but can you explain sort of a timeline of the call coming in, and then at what point did the explosion happen, and then you're switching to more of a defensive tactic, I assume? And is that remaining the case right now? Is there anything more that can be done while this is going on?
Well, we've got exhaustive efforts and resources on the scene. Like I said, the call came in around 1:12. We first arrived, our first arriving unit was about 1:14. We heard that first small explosion just before 3 p.m., which is when we began to evacuate the area. Until the fire and the scene is completely safe, we will make sure the scene and the perimeter also stays evacuated of residents, employees, and we'll continue to secure that scene.
This fire is taking place within Councilman Johnny Hanna's ward. I want to invite Councilman Hanna up if he'd like to make any comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of Ward 5 residents, we would like to thank the mayor, the fire department, and the police department for excellent evacuation. All the citizens in Ward 5 and in that particular area are very grateful that no one has been injured so far and no one has been taken to the hospital. Again, we want to thank the city for their expertise of getting those residents out of the area, and also thank Metro Regional Transit Authority for providing the buses to remove those residents from the area. Thank you.
Derek?
Is there, can you tell me at all what Koki Laboratories does? Why are these chemicals in that warehouse? Do we know anything about their business?
At this point, we don't have anything for you on that right now.
I guess what's the most important message to get across to the residents affected in that area? Because they're probably gonna have a lot of uncertainty. They're seeing the fire, hearing the popping noises, uncertain about what these chemicals are, what they could do, and what they're breathing.
We will continue to provide updates as necessary. The primary concern, as District Chief Lash mentioned, is getting folks out of that evacuation zone because of the concern about fire and potential explosion. There is not an air quality chemical concern at this point for folks outside of that evacuation zone. We are continually monitoring the situation, and if that changes and guidance needs to change, we will communicate that as soon as possible. But it is the message we want to send is that if folks are within that evacuation zone, hopefully folks are not within that evacuation zone at this point, but if they are, they need to get out, or they need to let us know so we can try to help get them out.
With a follow-up to that,
Sure.
is there an air quality chemical concern within the evacuation? Not
I don't-
outside, within, and is there testing actively going on? How do you know?
Summit County Public Health is responding. I don't have any specific things to report on the air quality. District Chief, do you?
Correct.
Just to confirm, Firestone's community center is currently full, but there's still room at Mason Park and Joy Park?
Yes, I think in order, we would like folks to go to Joy Park, and then if Joy Park is full, to Mason. But yes, that's Firestone Park, we believe, is full.
Folks on our live stream are asking if the evacuation area is going to expand at all.
To the extent that it would, we would immediately let folks know.
Thank
At
you.
this point, it is not. That's based on the command decision of fire and APD at the scene.
There's some dumb question. So is the fire still active right now?
It is, which is why we've got the scene secured. So the fire currently is still active, and until it is completely out, we'll make sure that scene stays secure and the residents and any visitors to that neighborhood stay safe.
Earlier today, you said you guys had a call for help coming from Koki Lab around 1 p.m. with heavy smoke and heavy flames coming from the building. Who made that call? Was it an employee? Was it a resident? Was it a citizen?
That we are not certain, well, I am not certain. I would have to check our notes, and then we can update you with that information.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you all. We will continue to provide updates as necessary. We appreciate you responding quickly. And again, just want to reiterate, our primary concern is making sure that we get folks out of that evacuation zone. Thank you very much, and especially thank you to Akron Fire Department, Akron Police Department, and City of Akron staff who have been responding and addressing this concern. Thank you.